lovely things. Greetings from Future Generation Builders Ghana to you. Today, I want us to discuss something, and the topic I want us to discuss is choosing our peers wisely. Choosing our peers wisely. What do you understand by the term peers? Or when we say a peer, what do you understand? Let's have a look at the definition in a dictionary. A peer or a peer group is a social group that consists of people who share similar interests or habits and are close in age. A peer or a peer group is a social group that consists of people who share similar interests or habits and are close in age. So your peer or your peer group are people who are close in age with you, and then you share a similar habit or interest in something. A peer group puts positive or a negative pressure on its members. The peer group you find yourself in will either put a positive or a negative pressure on you. So as a teenager or even as adults, this should tell us that we should be careful about the peers we find ourselves moving with, or the peer group we find ourselves in, because they can either put a positive or a negative pressure on you to do things. Let's look at some of the common things or characteristics of a peer group, the things peer groups usually do. They always take risks to experience new things. They have a sense of togetherness. They share common interests and beliefs. When you belong to a certain peer group, you share common interests or believe in something, the way something should be done or how things are done. So now we have two types of peer groups. We have the positive peer group and then the negative peer group. Today we are going to focus on a positive peer group. We are going to look at some of the things that will let you know that the group you find yourself in or the peers you are moving in with are positive peers, or you belong to a positive peer group. So let me just read this little definition about what a positive or a good peer group is. A good peer group is a group that teaches its members moral values. A good peer group or a good peer teaches you moral values. They teaches you moral values that are accepted by the community. They exhibit attitudes such as honesty, respect, discipline, obedience, and commitment to work. So, my dear teenager, with this explanation, the kind of peer group you move with, or you find the kind of peers you find yourself associating with, do you see these values in their attitudes, the way things are done? If you do, then that means that peer group is a positive peer group. But if you don't see all these qualities in the kind of peer group you find yourself in or the peers you move with, then please readjust yourself. Because when you are moving with a positive peer group, they should be committed to work. They should be honest. They should be respectful. They should teach you moral values that are accepted in the community that you find yourself in. So we are going to look at the benefits of belonging to a good peer group. The benefits. If you belong to a good peer group or a positive peer group, the first benefits I've written here is you learn new positive things. When you belong to a good peer group, you learn new positive things through exchange of ideas about issues. When you belong to a good or a positive peer group, they always feed you with positive things, not negative. When there's an issue or something comes up for discussion, they don't always pollute your mind with negative ideas and negative things. They always make sure everything they are bringing out is positive and will help shape you to be a better person. Point 2. When you belong to a positive peer group, you achieve your goals. Let me elaborate a little on this. When you belong to a good peer group, they help each other to learn hard to achieve their goals in life. You might ask, what are goals? They are the things you want to achieve in life. As a teenager, as a child, they are things you've planned in your heart and your mind you would love to achieve in the near future, after school or years ahead. So my question now is, the kind of peer group you are moving with, do they advise you when you tell them about your dreams, your goals, things you want to do? Do they advise you or push you if you are in school, do they advise you to learn harder so that you can achieve that in future? Or if you are out of school and you are learning a trade or something, when you tell them about your dreams, so after I finish with my maybe sewing practice or your electrical, whatever field you find yourself in, do those peers or friends advise you to be committed to whatever you are learning, whether it's the vocational aspect or it's our classroom academic learning? Do they advise you to give it your all so that you can achieve your dreams? If your peers or your friends don't advise you to study hard, learn hard, put in effort so that you can achieve your goals, then those friends or that group is a negative peer group you don't have to associate yourself with. So good or positive peer groups always help you to achieve your goals. They assist you in learning, they motivate you to learn harder and other stuff. On this note, I would like you, my dear teenager or child watching this video, what do you want to become in future? Have you ever discussed it with your peers or friends? What did they say about your goals? If you have ever discussed what you want to do in future with your peers or with your friends, the feedback they gave you, if it's positive or negative, you know it yourself. So reflect on that. If your peer group or your peer gave you a negative feedback on what you want to do in future, then please, it means that peer is not a positive peer that you should associate with. Another benefit or importance of belonging to a positive peer is being courteous. Being courteous. Being courteous means polite and considerate. When you belong to a positive peer group, you are courteous and polite. You use polite expressions when you talk to others, whether they are older than you, younger than you, at the same age. You use polite expressions when you are talking. What are some of these polite expressions? Saying I am sorry. Saying please when talking to people. When someone does something for you, you say thank you. There are a lot of us, we don't know how to say thank you or sorry or use the word please when talking to others. When you belong to a positive peer group, most of the time you'll find the members using polite words to each other, so you also automatically learn. But if you don't belong to a positive peer group and you belong to a peer group which are always using rude words, they talk anyhow, you will end up copying and it will become your lifestyle habits. Your way of talking wouldn't be polite. So please, if you find yourself among a peer group like this, then you advise yourself and know that that peer group is not a positive peer group. Our fourth point, it develops high aspirations. When you belong to a positive peer group, you develop high aspirations. Aspiration is a desire or ambition to achieve something in life, what you aspire to do. Good peer groups help its members to achieve their aims and aspirations in life. It's similar to the achieving goals, what you aspire to do in future. When you belong to a positive peer group, they will keep encouraging you, advising you on how to do things to achieve those aspirations. When you are going wrong, like you've told your peers or the peer group you belong to, they all know you say you want to be a doctor, yet you don't take your science lessons serious. You always boycott your science classes and other classes. When you belong to a good peer group, they will always advise you, keep pushing you to always be in class, be present in class, to learn, to achieve what you want to do in future. But if you belong to a negative peer group, they will even advise you and lure you to boycotting classes and going out to do other stuff that will not bring any benefit to you in future. So when you belong to a positive peer group, they help you to develop high aspirations and they make you achieve, they help you to achieve what you want to do. And members of a positive peer group encourage one another when there is a problem. The group members work hard to achieve their future ambitions and learn to be independent in life. When you belong to a good peer group, when there is a problem, for example, maybe you, as I cited earlier on, you want to be a doctor. So you take your lessons serious and maybe not an academical problem, but you have a problem home. Something happens home which affects your studies. When you belong to a good peer group, they will encourage you, advise you to, although the problem is there, to focus on your education so that you can achieve what you've aimed or target to achieve in the near future. When you belong to a good peer group, no matter the situation you find yourself in, they keep on encouraging you and they give you positive advice that will help you to be better in future. Our fifth point, members of a good peer group learn to avoid any behavior or activity that will destroy their future plans. Here, I will give this example. You say you want to become a medical doctor in future. You are in junior high or senior high. And then, let me use a female for example now. You have peers who are always advising you, linking you to boys, as in boyfriend, girlfriend, those kind of stuff. Not just boyfriend, girlfriend, but you are involved in premarital sex, unprotected sex as a female teenager. Meanwhile, your ambition is to be a medical doctor in future. And then later, you find yourself pregnant. You drop out of school. Or maybe if you don't drop out of school, sometimes some of you decide to take medicines and other stuff. If you are not lucky, you lose your life. Or if you are lucky, it comes out. But you drop out of school for some time, and then your peers are still in school learning. Are you going to be able to achieve your dreams? No. So it means at that time, that peer group you find yourself with didn't help you. But when you are in a positive peer group, they will always advise you to avoid any behavior or activity that will destroy your future. When you belong to a positive peer group, they will not advise you or link boys to you to go and have premarital sex, unprotected sex, for you to either contract an STI or get yourself pregnant. And then to my boys, when you have peers who smoke, who are into drugs, you say you want to be a medical doctor. When they are going to smoke, they lure you to follow them. Then you start small, then you become master. If you are not lucky and you go mad, will you achieve that dream? No. You would have just wasted your entire life. So please, my dear teenagers, always be careful of the type of peers you move with. Always make sure the peers you are moving with have positive influence in your life. If you belong to a positive peer group, they will always try to advise you, help you to avoid certain behaviors and activities that will lead you into trouble and destroy your future. Our sixth point, when you belong to a positive peer group, you are always obedient. People in good peer groups show obedience to the elderly, parents, and every other person they come into contact with. In our previous discussion on being humble as a teenager, I said this. Some of us, as young as we are, have been tagged as disrespectful children. So nobody cares about what we do. They don't advise us. And we think, yeah, we are on top of the world. So they leave us to do whatever we want, which is not going to end well with us. So please, my dear teenager, make sure the peer group you find yourself in are obedient people. They are obedient. They respect you. They respect their parents or guardian. They respect people they come into contact with. Especially when you are moving with them, when you are studying with them, when you are playing with them, you will notice all these things. The way they talk, If they are obedience, you know. So please choose your peers wisely. Our 7th point. Good peer groups help members to stay focused in life. They help its members to focus on what they want to become in future. Since the group members aim at becoming successful in future, they always try to guide each other from deviating from the normal path they have taken. So when you belong to a positive peer group, they always make sure and try to guide you. You guide each other so that you don't deviate from what will lead you to the aim or what you the ambition you want to achieve in future. Your peers will always guide you so that you don't deviate from the path that will lead you to where you want to be in future. Our 8th and last point for a positive peer group is respectfulness. Members in a peer group show respect for people around them and also the authority. They respect parents, teachers, leaders, friends, and everyone they meet. My dear teenager, please, it costs nothing to be a respectful child. You don't have to pay any money to be a respectful child. So please, my dear teenager, please be respectful. Make sure the peers you are moving with are respectful. If they are not and you are, try to change them. But when you say it's not working, they are so disrespectful, please advise yourself, because if you don't take care, they will change you. Before you realize, you are also a disrespectful child. Unconsciously, they will change you without you knowing. So please, be respectful. You don't have to pay any money to be respectful. Respect your parents. Respect your guardian. Respect your teachers. Respect authority. Respect everybody you come into contact with in this life. The society we find ourselves in and the peers we move with. Now you will see a teenager, a child insulting someone in authority in a higher position. An MP, a pastor, a teacher, president, your parents, your own parents, your guardian who provide your basic needs for you. You'll find a teenager disrespecting them. Sometimes it's because of the kind of peers you are moving with and the kind of things they do. So you copy blindly, unknowingly. You start to misbehave in your home. You start to misbehave towards your parents or your guardian. Please, 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 my dear teenager, if you are like that, put a stop to it. Be an obedient and a respectful child. It has its own blessings in disguise that you don't know. Be a respectful teenager for future generation builders Ghana. For the glory of God, please be a respectful and a disciplined teenager. I will end our discussion on belonging to a positive peer group here. Continue to be an obedient and a respectful child. Assess the kind of peer group you move with to know if the peers you are moving with are positively impacting anything in your life. If they are not, please leave that peer group. Leave those peers, because they are not going to help you to achieve anything positive in life. Till I come your way again, this is your Executive Council member, Naomi Awini. Be a good boy and a good girl for future generation builders Ghana. God bless you. Bye-bye.